A vital stage in our initiation is understanding the cost of power and the necessity of balance. While power is something that everyone desires in one form or another, it remains largely overlooked in our society. True mastery requires a healthy comprehension of power and its proper integration. Every occultist seeks power, yet, like all things, power possesses a dual nature. It can be a force of creation or destruction. The wisdom passed down by our ancestors and mentors serves to instill discipline and self-regulation, ensuring that power remains stable and beneficial. Without discipline, power can quickly spiral into chaos, becoming a destructive force that harms both ourselves and those around us. Yet, power is often wielded recklessly, and we witness the consequences of its misuse reflected in the world. Take, for example, young boys who, upon finishing school, are immediately enlisted into the military and handed control over weapons of mass destruction. Instead of being taught self-mastery, discipline, and a clear direction in life, they are trained merely to maintain and operate rifles and machine guns. Every soldier, regardless of which side he fights for, is still our boy, a reflection of our collective failure to guide power with wisdom. How many military academies throughout the world? Do you know that take young boys after the army to turn them into real men, not to kill other men, but to transmute the raw destructive masculine force into something constructive, an alchemical process for the benefit of all mankind? There is a reason why the secrets of the universe are occulted. They are hidden from the uninitiated. It is absurd that people expect to be handed down secrets that have been kept hidden from those who are not worthy, not ready to hear them. It is by all means a blasphemy. It is equal to giving a gun to a little child. Those secrets must never fall into the wrong hands. Have you ever tried to express a particular occult secret to someone and they thought you were mad? What about movies where the villains seek an artifact or a piece of knowledge that will help them destroy the world? There is no shortage of psychopaths out there. Movies, books, stories, and video games are all fantastic tools that can help us learn and understand the world better if our eyes are set on the truth. As we undergo metanoia on our spiritual journey, our perspective of ourselves and the world changes, and we receive new insights, unlocking more power, and reality shifts accordingly. It's like nature itself has some protective force field to ensure that order is maintained at all costs. Many power sources surround us. When these power sources are unregulated in spreading their influence, it is a reflection of what happens when raw power is used without discipline. For instance, take social media. Social media is a massive power source. All of us as initiates and magicians tune into this powerhouse. However, some seek to destabilize and corrupt it, while others strive to maintain order and prevent the corruption from spreading. Trolling, the spread of misinformation, fueling division, and manipulating public perception are all examples of how uncontrolled energy is spread recklessly. Another example is someone who wins the lottery overnight, but lacks any kind of financial wisdom and loses it all as quickly as it came, perhaps even ending in a worse situation than before he won the lottery. What about AI and automation? The rapid growth of AI without regulation can be used for harmful purposes. In Magick, pursuing power without discipline, virtue, self-sacrifice, control, and balance can lead to corruption and potential harm to self and others. That is why theory or studying is such an important aspect of the magician's role. A true magician never ceases to study. He studies everything, from everyone and everywhere. Others prefer to skip the theory and go straight to practice and learn by doing. There must be a proper balance of theory and practice. Life gives us plenty of opportunities to practice our magic. Life, after all, is a holographic mathemagical academy. When we balance power with wisdom, we avoid succumbing to ego-driven magic. An immature and amateur approach that stands on an equal footing with a 16-year-old teenager who lifts his bike with one wheel in the air without a helmet while running a red light to impress others. Without control of power, power turns against us. Everybody wants to rule the world, but life will always bring us down to be humble and know our place. Every action has a consequence. Sure, as teenagers, or as adults who possess a teenage mentality, we want to break the rules and have fun, and as long as it is in good taste, there is nothing wrong with that here and then. But for those who seek self-mastery, some sacrifices must be made if you are to transmute yourself to a more refined version. That is exactly the cost of power. The magician's path is paved with sacrifices that he must make, all for greater wisdom and power. Some things cannot be saved. Certain attachments, identities, thought forms, and possessions must be cut or removed for us to reach a higher ascension. Every sweet moment promises a sorrowful moment, and every sorrow promises sweetness that will come into our lives soon enough. That is the polarity of life which we must rise above. The polarities won't disappear, but they won't have as much power over us as they do now, just like the pendulum. This brings the pain of transformation, a trial to see if you can make the hard choices and, more importantly, the right choices, because only then are power and knowledge granted. Even though they are not rewards, they are tools of preparation for the trials ahead. The greatest sacrifices we can make are the sacrifice of lower aspects of ourselves, our comforts, our limiting beliefs, our egoic identifications, our lack of compromise and surrender, our fears, and even attachments to our desires, if those control us more than we do them. The monuments and crystals, the power sources of this world, corrupt the flora and fauna both literally and metaphorically. These powerhouses mentioned earlier corrupt our thoughts and our emotions, drain our energy, and distort our instincts with this raw, unchecked power emitting from the power sources. This is what happens when a magician falls into lies and propaganda, believing whatever the masses believe, unable to think for himself, and allowing his desires, emotions, and instincts to control him rather than cultivating discipline and control over them. External forces, corrupt and distorted, now lead his life instead of him being the master of his fate. But the magician engages in the art of transmutation, and instead of destroying what got corrupted in him and the world, he seeks to extract the essence and repurpose and direct it properly. Consider religious holy scriptures. They seek to bind, control, and channel the mind that has just moved from the animal kingdom to the human kingdom, to not allow his bestial nature to interfere with the establishment of a civilization. However, a turning point in history comes where this channeling is no longer valid. We enter a new age, and now we need to bind, control, and channel the mind from the religious mentality to a higher mentality, and the introduction of a new revolutionary system is inevitable. The lesson from this paragraph is that you cannot destroy chaos, but you can bind the energy, control it, and channel it properly to create order. Understand that we must regulate our power. Our ambitions for glory, power, and wisdom are great and natural, but we must not allow these ambitions to corrupt us and lead us to ruin. We must cultivate self-mastery, virtue, discipline, focus, and control. Then we can make the right sacrifices. Our unhealthy attachments, addictions, limiting beliefs, uncontrollable desires, etc., you would have much more success in spirit invocation if, instead of offering apples and wine to the entity, you offer a sacrifice of an impure part in yourself. Do not suppress your instincts. You cannot suppress the beast, it will destroy you. But you can tame it, control it, and direct it constructively in a healthy manner. And finally, transmute the corrupted energies, the chaos, the unstable and raw power into wisdom, order, and power. Learn how to bind, control, and direct energy at will inside you and around you. Every increase in power will demand greater responsibility and control from you. It will require you to cultivate wisdom and virtue. If you want to play with fire, make sure you don't get yourself burned. Don't rely on raw energy for power. Master regulation, control, refinement, transmutation, and sacrifice. But remember, control is temporary. You must always maintain control. Always inspect your mind and heart and check if nothing is corrupted. Just like you must maintain your house consistently as dust piles up, so you must do with yourself. Constant examination of your soul, of who you truly are. The mirror is a wonderful, magical tool exactly for that purpose. The mirror reflects both outer and inner beauty. Security is an illusion if one becomes complacent. This is a process of continual assertion, a daily ritual, if you will. Asking ourselves questions at the end of the day, such as, how was I a better version of myself today than yesterday? How did I treat other people today? And is there something I did today that I regret? Are all great to ensure that corruption does not spread and we are on the right track. We must also remember that a temporary victory is not the end of the war. Thinking otherwise is vanity and pride, and will quickly lead us to ruin. While it is good to celebrate a victory, our survival requires strategy, persistence, discipline, and perspective beyond the present moment of a temporary victory. Forcing yourself to do 50 sit-ups and then celebrating with a piece of cake is counterproductive. Ultimately, what defines our destiny is not the fact that we were granted with power, knowledge, tools, and gifts, but how we use it and for what purposes. We can win large sums of money, but that victory is not the determining factor of our destiny. It is meaningless. The meaning comes from the way we choose to use it. Then we start to see the true nature of reality and how infinite power and wisdom truly are. We then stand at a crossroads, to use power for the gratification of the lower self and base desires, or to reach as high as possible. That is where another test of our soul's examination occurs.